Hello everybody and welcome to Mortal Kombat Deception on the Nintendo GameCube.
Disgrace.
This is actually apparently I played this on the PSP.
I failed to realize
this is technically the first Mortal Kombat game I played.
why are you referencing Lion King 2 of all things, Dubs?
Because you said deception.
Oh, what is it? Wasn't that more like Exile or something? Whatever.
No. It is deception, disgrace, evil.
Okay.
Mrs. Garner.
Well, whatever. So let's see what actually happened. There you go.
Turns out you weren't getting the actual story of Mortal Kombat 5.
Well, technically you were, Jova.
Oh.
Well, technically you were, Jova. Reptile's ending is canon, as we're about to see in a moment.
Yeah, but Reptile's ending is so, okay, it's obviously just a bridge more than anything, as opposed to a full-blown story.
Well,
I mean, in my opinion, Mortal Kombat's story has been at best functional.
Don't worry, Dubs. It gets better when we reboot. Go ahead.
I'd argue also it does sort of get better in this game because this is where they finally started to have
A proper story mode, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's Pedro.
I haven't heard good things about the voice acting, though.
No, the voice acting has aged like spoiled milk. I do love this intro though, like the CGI still looks good actually. Yeah, not great, but good.
To be fair to the voice acting, for the time it came out, it was apparently very good.
Well, I don't know.
Again, for the time.
But yeah, Raiden alone challenged both Quan-Chi and Shang-Tsung. The problem is, even if Raiden is a thunder god, like it's still 2 against 1. So
What soul did you got, Shang-Tsung?
not to mention Shang-Tsung plays dirty, as we know.
Yeah, like you couldn't get Sub-Zero with you or something, or Scorpion.
They all died, Deji. That's what the narrator said. They're all dead except for Raiden. Raiden's the only one left.
Yeah, again, you wouldn't have known that by actually playing the game where this supposedly happened, so... Oh my god, I just realized, it's like that god-awful bit in the Resident Evil movies.
But...
Oh, Raiden's dead.
No, he's not dead actually. He's just
mostly dead.
he was just defeated. He was just knocked
He
out.
fainted.
Well, I mean, his eyes are wide open, staring at nothing.
Oh my god,
He's
that
not
terrible
moving.
beard.
was short-lived.
Because
Oh,
of course the
boy.
Deadly, as we know, the Deadly Alliance could not last.
Well, even the endings of the Alliance imply this anyway.
Yeah, pretty much the entirety of the Deadly Alliance that told the
These two, not to mention, it's Quan-Chi and Shang-Tsung. Like, they're loyal to no one except themselves. So this was unavoidable, regardless. It wouldn't even make any sense for them not to turn on each other after this, anyway.
Well, maybe it would have been an interesting bout of two negatives canceled out, but no,
looks like
canonically,
Quan-Chi wins again.
So Kratos won.
Alright, so, hold on. So yeah, like we saw in Reptile's ending of Mortal Kombat Alliance, yes, the Onaga, the Dragon King, has returned, aka the former ruler of Outworld before Shao Kahn. And he's here to reclaim his throne and his army. So yeah, Shang-Tsung, so now Onaga must be thinking, well, guys, thanks for resurrecting my army so that now I can use it now that I'm back. So...
pretty much.
The Dragon King.
Oh, but it can be bumpy. It can.
Sorry, what did you say? I couldn't quite hear you.
I love all dialogues do not have subs, but the narration does. Yeah.
He said, no, it cannot be.
It can be. I know, it's just that the audio mixing also didn't help.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, not only do they, remember, they're trying their best to fight a greater threat.
Oh yeah, we're a deadly alliance, aren't we?
Not just that, but as the narrator is about to say.
And so it was that a new alliance was formed out of desperation.
Yeah.
The lively alliance now?
They're both.
I guess.
Yeah, no Nagas. They have no choice but to try to take down this greater foe.
Well, but they may need some help for that.
Yeah, it's still not really working.
To realize that even their combined might was not enough to.
So Raiden's gonna try. So in true Dragon Ball Z style, Raiden's gonna try a last resort.
I'm gonna reboot the series!
Not yet.
No, that's mine.
One chance.
And
Kidama.
there you go. He tries a Vegeta-style self-explosion to see if he can, as a last resort, to destroy Onaga, but it doesn't work. Okay, yes. Okay, so we had Boon watch Dragon Ball Z. I can tell that already.
Okay, so now Raiden
and the
is
worst
dead.
of all, Onaga got Shinnok's amulet.
Brought him this power.
And who you might be.
Can destroy this threat. Born of deception.
Roll credits.
Hey, that's
roll
the name of the title.
credits. Roll credits. Also, who the hell are you? I guess.
seriously.
I guess we'll have to play the story mode to find out now, wouldn't we?
Yeah, if you're not really a fan of stories that wipe some slate clean and introduce a new hot protagonist that will totally solve the problem, guys, this is not the game for you.
Oh, I think I remember actually one of my family members showed me at one point the chess combat
Oh, cool.
of the game.
Anyway, okay, so this Mortal Kombat Decision
Years ago, though.
Mortal Kombat Decision introduces a new mode called Conquest Mode. What is that? Basically, it's a 3D action fighting game that tells the backstory of Mortal Kombat Deception. So we're gonna dial back a few decades in time and come back to a time even before Special Forces. So technically, this is the earliest in the timeline we've ever been.
No, but remember, Special Forces is.
No, I know, Theo, but this takes place even before Jax.
I know. I was mostly joking.
Didn't Ed Boon just toss that game out the cannon?
Yeah, he did. Not just that. Yeah, that as well. And
look at that.
No,
Thanks,
but the Sub-Zero game.
so yeah, since all the graphical budget went into the actual fighting aspects of the game, because it's a fighting game, Conquest Mode kind of got the short end of the stick when it comes to budget, and as a result, the character models look very low poly.
It does remind me of Bully, the game from Rockstar.
I don't know, Taylor. I think Bully looks better than this, to be honest with you.
What do you
Maybe
mean?
the
Do you
Xbox
mean
360
Tandem?
version.
And before you say it, no, Webs, actually, the Scholarship Edition is called Bully over here too, so you can't say that.
Yeah, I know. But Deji, Deji, about your point about Sub-Zero, I think Ed Boon's a bit lighter on that one, mainly because that was a passion project of his
Also,
friend.
I will give credit where it's due. That initial recreation of Great Kung Lao versus Shang-Tsung with children playing pretend,
Yeah.
was kind of nice.
Yeah, it was a nice nod to the lore, basically. Anyway, okay, so we're playing as our new main character, Shujinko. Who is he? Well, he's a student in training, and he's a student of Bo Raicho, the Outworld martial arts teacher that we introduced in the previous game. So Bo Raicho is teaching Shujinko how to fight, and the game also uses this as an excuse for having a tutorial. This is what makes the Conquest mode of this game a lot better than Deadly Alliance's Conquest mode.
It has a story to it.
It has a story to it, and it's far better structured. Anyway, Taylor, you can be Bo Raicho, why not?
Sure. Your first exercise will be to step forward toward me 3 times. Sorry.
So there you go, like teaching you the... there you go. Stepping.
Outstanding!
You can walk.
Two.
It's actually voiced.
He's talking.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Some beats are voiced, some are not.
Fucking
Be
hell.
quick by quickly tapping twice away from the opponent, you can perform a backward dash. Full distance between us performing 3 backward dashes toward me.
Exactly.
Excellent.
No fighting style like you will know yourself. Try to strike me once with 4 different basic attacks to understand your characteristics.
Okay then.
Ow. 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 Shit. I spilled my lungs, but very good. Although you can perform your attacks with the same button by pressing a direction at the same time. For example, pressing towards your opponent while attacking will execute a different. Now, Shujinko, strike me with each of your high punch attacks.
Exactly. High punch. Again, one of the big differences between the previous games and the PS2 era is how they introduce via the directional pad different variations of each of the 4 moves that Mortal Kombat has.
Okay, it's a bit weird. It's weird how just some beginning bits were actually fully voiced, but then now we're basically just dropped like this.
But, well, Theo, our budget is not unlimited. We have to cut corners somewhere.
I understand that, but by that logic, we shouldn't really have voiced that much to begin with. I get the idea. I get the idea what they wanted to convey, but not even in a sense of doing the whole grunt thing to say, oh, this is this character speaking. I don't know,
think
whatever.
I can get why they did it like that. If I recall correctly, one of the mentalities of, games going in with the PS2 was definitely focusing more on the performance than the looks of it. Oh, now that's not to say that we didn't have people who did try to, get as much from the PS2's graphics as they could, but the PS2 was not the most powerful system of
let me put in comparison to a video game. Oh, hold on. What was that?
To its credit, Joe, but this game was a multiplayer. It came out on all 3 consoles at the time.
But I was about to mention, to put in comparison to a game that does something similar, as in something voice, something done.
Hold on, Theo, because we're about to get introduced to the wonderful voice acting that Liz was talking about in a moment.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Hello, Shujinko. I think APAP is waiting for you.
That's not too bad.
Let me get the IMDb.
He does sound a bit stilted, though.
Well, let's see what APAP. Well, let's see. First off, yeah, I don't remember. Basically, I'm showcasing the actual arena
good old
itself.
Water that looks like a statue of ice itself.
Yes.
And wait. So we're playing on the 1st of January 2000.
Apparently,
Or is it 1901?
That's the thing, Dwibs. I don't even know what the hell that date is, to be honest with you.
Wait, hold on. Is that supposed to be the date that, the system thinks that you're playing?
No. It's an actual date in universe.
The one Master Bo Raicho mentioned.
Okay.
I've seen you around before. You and your friends are always pretending to be famous warriors in that park over there.
Oh man.
Master Bo Raicho asked me to show you that
Okay.
school is where he teaches.
Most characters are listed under additional voices, so I'm gonna go with that.
AKA, we got the janitor to voice all characters.
Pretty much, I'm not recognizing all of these people. Oh no, Dan Forden is listed also among those, and I'm not talking about just the toasty bit. But anyway, young Shujinko is voiced by Max Crawford, while his narrator version is voiced by Herman Sanchez. Borracho is voiced by Carlos Pesina himself. And then we're gonna be all the additional voices, but I'll pick a different moment for mention.
Alright, so this particular first bit of the story mode involves tutorial aspects. After that, the proper story will start.
Every word has a potential to link his or moves into. For example, you can combat attack by pressing B and B in rapid subsection. Twist your attack combo skills. Execute the short combo move.
So yeah, basically the game even goes out of its way to teach you how the combos are. So basically, especially if you're new to these Mortal Kombats, it's a good idea to start your playthrough here, because the game will progressively teach you how every single mechanic. That way, you can easily absorb them at your own pace, which will make your actual arcade playthrough a lot easier. Basically.
Interesting thing. The voice actress who voices Tanya in this game, Beth Maluski, in Shaolin Monk, she voices Sonya Blade.
Not surprised.
Oh, there you go. Alright, let's see. Might as well use this to mention. Alright, there we go. Johanna Año Nuevo, David Allen, Chase Ashbecker, Bob Berry, Laura Bolton, Rich Carr, Nigel Casey, Brian Chard, Lina Chern, Mike DiCillo, Elias Figueira, Greg Freres, Paula Garcia, Jim Gentle, Don Greenberg, Leon Helmer, Sean Himmerich, Alex Ollie, Steve Jones, Jill Kogut, Charlie Koanek, Bob Ladewig, Bev Meliuski, like Luis mentioned, Krista Munoz, Vince Pontarelli, Ryan Rosenberg, Natalie Salzman, Bram Scannell, Josh Schmittenstein, Beth Smukowski, Jamie Van, John Vogel, John Vogel is also included, Eric Buckerfuss, and John Walsh. Also, Chrissy Riot as Frost.
So basically, the developers voiced every character themselves.
Pretty much.
And they're still better than Ronda Rousey.
So it's just like in Mortal Kombat 4.
It's just like how in Dragon Slayer they had the janitor voice the princess.
But let me guess, we're not gonna get any awesomely bad lines, as this is not a brutality. This is a brutality this time.
No, the voice acting in this is much more trying to see if they can, be taken seriously rather than being over the top.
Even the story itself now tries to take itself more seriously. I mean, Deadly Alliance already started doing that, but this is also another step in that direction.
Okay, so as you may recall, one thing I was iffy on was them killing off Liu Kang. But like I said, if they went interesting ways with that would be fine. Part of why I still am iffy on how they killed off Liu Kang is, well, where the story goes in Deception. It's not for everyone, I'll just warn you, Dwibs.
Well, it's just one of those cases where they just introduce a new protagonist. As Ed Boon himself puts it in the behind-the-scenes video we're gonna watch, the next generation Liu Kang, he literally poses him as the new Liu Kang. So
again, similar to a lot of other games that presented this kind of thing, let's scrap the previous part, at least of the previous cast, and introduced a hot new protagonist that was there all along, and now he's gonna solve the problems of everyone. Your mileage may vary in terms of how you actually receive this.
Look, I'm not gonna act like it would have been impossible to do something with it, but how they do it here does feel like it could come off as rather taboo.
To put it bluntly, Shujinko, while present in the comic series, has not shown up yet in the new timeline.
No, that's the thing. Well, actually, Teo, that's the thing, Teo. There's one of the arcade endings in 11 where Shujinko gets murdered. So
again, he's not actively hated by the fan base, but you will be pressed to find someone who actually praises him.
Okay, he's not like
it's not Suao. Again, I cannot stress enough. It's not like Suao or Jarek. It's not like, again, completely despised. But again, it was poor timing, his inclusion. And again, the story of Deception itself showcasing his growth and where the events panned out on paper is not really that bad. Character growth and everything. Again, just poor timing and the cannibalization of the pre-existing cast.
I get the feeling that had this just been a full-on reboot as opposed to, all the old cast dying for the sake of, this new guy is gonna do it. I feel like if this had just been a pure-on reboot, I feel like Shujinko would have been taken more better, but no, he comes off as, not a full-on Gary Stu, but he feels like a bit of he feels like an insert Stu, the kind where, here's this character who's going to be able to solve what no other character could, and it doesn't really feel that facilitated because, spoilers, most of what it's going to come down to is beat the bad guy up. That's the thing about Mortal Kombat, really. There's never really any special reason why it's destined for this character here and there.
Unless you're Johnny Cage and Cassandra, who defeated Shinnok because of their powers.
But that that makes sense because Johnny Cage kind of needs that. He kind of needed that to keep up with them in that regard. But it's like with Mortal Kombat.
Well, no, their powers are specifically meant to repel against Elder Gods.
Yeah, MKX did mention, sort of introduce this kind of minor retcon that applies to technically the old timeline. The fact that Johnny Cage was unwittingly, not knowing, being the descendant of a warrior clan from ancient Greece.
Well, they explained it at the ending of 9.
Yeah.
Okay, my point is this though: when it comes to Shinjuku, he doesn't really do anything that different from Liu Kang. It's a similar issue I have with Terminator Dark Fate. So she's different from John Connor, but not really. How does this make things better?
It's I get the feeling Ed Boon and John Vogel didn't just want to repeat the first 4 games formula over and over and over again. And they wanted to try to do something different to move the series forward.
Again, that's kind of the problem, though. It doesn't really feel like they did stuff different enough with this new character.
Yeah,
and
TV
story.
Tropes labels Shujinko essentially as a replacement scrappy. Basically, it's not actively like a broken base status, but again, it's not really seen in a keen eye by the fan base.
I love how.
Let me just put out the code I have about this stuff. You want to change stuff up, mix stuff up? All right, fine. But two things. First, do it so that it comes off tack.
But yeah.
Secondly, do something different enough so that it feels warranted that we got rid of the old. Because again, if you're essentially just doing the same old tired sad song, congrats! You got rid of your old cast for pretty much nothing.
Yes, Pedro?
That's the thing. Like, I love how every NPC in this game has Tintin style beady eyes.
And some of their arms look like twig joints all plugged together.
I can definitely see the ambition behind this new mod. Midway also wanted to boost their, Golden Sacred Goose IP.
I mean, you have to develop get credit. It does make this money. It does make this game really worth your money. For the usual price of a game at its time, you're getting a shit ton of playtime for your money.
You're arguably getting 2 story campaigns.
Okay, this was like 2000.
Oh, hold on.
Hello.
I do not have time for foolish chatter.
Nothing to see here.
To search for able men and women to increase the ranks of my clan.
There you go, Joe. There you go, Joe. Turns out he's not Sub-Zero. He's just wearing the Lin Kuei outfit because ever since ever since the end of Mortal Kombat 4, Sub-Zero reformed the Lin Kuei to become a force for protection of Earthrealm. So
you gotta love how before that the Lin Kuei were just going around saying, "Hey, buddy, you want to join our awesome ninja club?
Want to buy some Death Sticks?"
It's like way to keep a low cover, guys.
Okay, this was 2004, so I think Soul Calibur 3 was around the corner, although not the vanilla version. No, this arcade edition was released in 2006, so it was a bit a while. But I argue that in terms of price and content, that game offered much more, even if it didn't have a complete kind of story mode, because of the stuff that it introduced, like the different types of arcades and the character customization. I do believe, compared to this one, that one is a bit of a better choice. But I can still see, I guess, like I said, the ambition behind this title. You could definitely see, again, also the Shenmue-esque type of, village where you have to wait time to do stuff.
Yes, basically you can meditate, and by meditating, time flows by really quickly, so you can put the game at whatever time you can. However, there are no needs to be in some place at a point in time. The clock is just there for extra immersion, yes, too.
It's just like smoking weed in the Metal Gear Solid titles.
Alright, so we already did that tutorial, so let's just go back. Alright, let's see what APAP wants.
You can figure this out. Keep trying.
Whatever you say, girl.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Basically, he's asking me. That's the thing, Joe, but that's supposed to be a boy. We're supposed to find a specific person who can give us something that we can give to the toll to go for the bridge. Hello.
I am glad you are here. There is a man who looks through my window each night at 2 a.m. I would be most grateful if you could scare him away for me.
There you go.
That's right. You're not talking to him because you pawned off your ring.
There you go. There's your side quest. However, I'm not gonna bother because I'd rather just move on with the story. Now, trust me, the only things you get are coins for the crypt.
No, so... I remember something about this, but again, on one hand, it's weird because again, all these NPC dialogues are actually voiced, even for minor stupid lines like this one.
Many years ago, it is said to be a magical item.
And we just took it. Whoops. But let me get back on the point of the thing that I mentioned for the tutorial. Let me compare this to something like, say, the DS, Nintendo DS, Professor Layton titles. Those have only specific moments where they're fully voiced, but they're usually paced in a way where they start and stop at the right moment, so it doesn't feel too odd where they start or where they end. In here, they seem to have started with Boracho having a couple of lines voiced title tutorial, but then we just abruptly give up altogether. It feels odd.
I get the feeling they ran out of money at some point, so their full voice plans had to be canned, I guess.
That's the thing. Everyone seems to be voiced side quest wise, so
it's weird. I don't know what to tell you.
I think that's the best way to describe this game as a whole. It's
weird.
It's the weird one of the Mortal Kombats for sure. Like,
also,
it's not,
this is your nightmares for tonight.
Let me go like this. It's not inherently bad, but it does make a lot of baffling decisions that make you go, huh?
Shujinko, can you help me?
Hang, what happened to you, man?
Yeah, like, Jesus, boy. Lost yourself and your tattoos. Too.
So yeah, we need to find medicine for the sick boy, but I don't care, so we're just gonna let the sick boy die.
Man, Shujinko really was heartless.
These guys are sick.
You know, this might come off rude, but maybe there's a reason why starting from 9 they decide to just make it about fights.
Clean slate, that too, and also having a more clean slate. Again, starting already with Deadly Alliance, but also with this, it was pretty clear that things were becoming way too bloated for their own good.
Not only that, but they ended up going back to a lot of things. Don't get me wrong, this game does bring in a new threat. Well, technically an old one, but, you know, new by lore standards. But as you'll see with later affairs, it still eventually would harken back to the good old stuff, which, again, not inherently a bad thing. But I felt like they were doing it in a way where they were running on fumes here. Whereas, for all the problems Mortal Kombat 11 may have, the story does seem to open the avenue to a lot of new possibilities now.
What were you guys talking about? The recent games?
Well, we're talking about what led to them eventually needing to wipe the slate clean with the reboot that is Mortal Kombat 9.
Well, I know. I have an answer to that question. Midway when Boston and Warner Brothers just wanted a clean slate.
I also love how for the ham they use an actual photo of a realistic looking ham instead of like a drawing.
Yes.
I can confirm that those are delicious.
Alright. So now we have a ham, let's actually see if we can get past the bridge.
Would that be an accurate answer?
Hello?
Hello?
Hey,
what?
Wake up. Your brother is looking for you. Huh? What? I better get home to do my chores.
And maybe let your brother know that you're
Are you paying any attention to what he just said?
This is painful.
Can you guys hear
dialogue or the
yes,
voice
yes.
acting?
Yeah, we hear you.
I don't know. I don't know. I kind of find it hilariously bad, personally.
I love ham. Thank you very much.
How nice.
Even the mocap movement feels it odd.
I'm pretty sure this was all rigged. I'm pretty sure there was no mocap here.
Well, for some basic moves, I can't believe some of them actually have been done.
Let me
Remember,
check if there
the series prides itself also on having mocap and stuff from the very beginning, you know, we digitized the actor movement. So that wouldn't be too surprising if it's on prototype.
Yes, this is the main street of the town. You can get anywhere you want to go by following it.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's also another thing. This particular village doesn't really look interesting.
I will wait outside.
Okay.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. It's the Tatooine. It's sorry. It's a Tatooine principle tale. Like, let's have the protagonist start in a very humble, very unassuming place to showcase how he's just your everyman. You know.
Yeah, I know that, but compared to this, something like, say, Nibelheim for Cloud still looked very interesting as the starting town, you know.
Yeah.
And that was a game that came out in 1997, and the characters.
Let's also compare. Sorry, go on, please.
That was a game that came out in 1997, and all the characters were made out of cardboard.
Let's also compare it to, say, The Last Airbender with the air temples, the air nomad temples where Aang started also on his own.
Well, I mean, that came out a year after this. So.
I'm talking in general as a rule, dweebs.
Anyway, to confirm, motion capture was used ever since Mortal Kombat 4, so yes, it was used in the game as well.
But here's the thing, Jova. Was it we know it was used for the fighting part of the game because but was it used for conquest mode? That's what I'm wondering because this doesn't look mocap to me at all. It looks rigged, clearly.
It looks mocap to me, but like in the sense that it was old-fashioned.
Look at that guy's running cycle.
Okay, stuff like, again, the actual movements, like running, obviously, I can't believe they're actually animated in-game. But stuff like the poses done, I can't believe they were mocap in a sense of, do this pose, then do this pose X, Y, and Z, and then we'll just decide to rotate them in order to what the character is doing at the moment.
Yeah, I get the feeling that even the conquest stuff was mocap, but due to the reduced budget, they only really kept in a few poses here and there.
It's also a bit similar to how characters behaved in Sonic 06, which is why I got the feeling of how the cutscenes were presented. The characters did look like actual humans with bubble heads on top of them.
And not to mention that they had uniform dancing and all that because, well, motion capture implemented properly. But okay, you know what? I won't be too harsh on Conquest mode, seeing as how it is technically an extra mode. So,
and again, another experimental thing.
It does show how ambitious this game was, but if there was one weakness I do feel like Mortal Kombat did get is that I feel that, again, not saying that, the later games were bad, but I do feel that starting with Mortal Kombat 4, part of their kind of weakness was them being blinded by their ambition, missing the forest for the trees.
Right.
What I mean by that? Well, they focused definitely on the higher end spectrum of stuff, and good for them on that, but I do feel like at some points it did make them kind of lose sight of some things. Like, we critiqued that in Mortal Kombat 4 and 5, and this as well now.
That's why Mortal Kombat 9 was an attempt to go back to basics. It was a 2D fighter again, and it was a retelling of the first 3 games, and that way we could just, go get back to basics and, just stay there.
Move on from there.
Get back to basics, and then 11 was like, alright, reboot the timeline. See you in Mortal Kombat 12.
Talking also in terms of gameplay, Edge, because again, something that's been consistent since 9 is the fact that these 3D, sort of 2.5D or 3D angle has been kind of removed in favor of the more traditional 2D
Well, to be fair, Deji, would you really want them to retell after, considering that we defeat Shinnok in X, would you really want them to retell the Dead Alliance and Shujinko storyline?
I mean, if you make it good, I wouldn't be complaining.
Well, I don't know.
I'm in the belief that you can make a good story and just make it. I mean, you can take elements of something that was bad and make it good.
Oh, sure. The problem is that most likely they're not. I think that arcade ending of 11 that shows Cassie accidentally killing Shujinko pretty much is the only message I needed to tell that, Ed Boon is basically catering to the Shujinko haters and just going, no, don't worry, Shujinko sucks and we're not gonna give him any light of day anymore. So.
Same goes
or you can just make him a good character. Just saying.
Well, that takes more work, I guess.
yeah, guess what? You work hard, you get better rewards.
That's the thing, Deji. Okay, they could technically put in that work, but will it actually pay off? Because I think there's a bit too much indifference towards Shujinko for it to really pay off.
Like, I get the idea that it's more of a high risk, low reward situation.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. I feel like one thing they could maybe do is slowly work Shujinko back into the canon, but don't have him immediately take the reins from Liu Kang. Like, again, that's always... that is a problem that a lot of companies seem to have whenever they try and replace the main protagonist with someone new, while still having a lot of the old cast. Now, mind you, if you're, like, resetting the cast as a whole, then, fine. A new protagonist is easier to swallow. But when you're essentially in the same setting and it's really only the main protagonist that's getting up and replaced here, and by someone complete and brand new, you know, kind of one of Capcom's problems that they were having back in the day.
The only time I've seen it not managing to fuck things up on a complete level was with Nero, and I still remember someone not liking Nero when he was introduced in DMC4. It was only mitigated because you could actually play as Dante, and he had a bigger impact in the story anyway.
And that doesn't change the fact that there was that horrible marketing campaign suggesting that, oh, Nero had to take down Dante as the bad guy.
Anyway, everybody.
Let's move on.
Anyway, everybody, in the next part, we finish the tutorial part, and the proper catalyst of the plot will happen. So,
yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Ta-ta.